All right. I'm Rafi, Head of Partnerships at Finaloop. I'm super excited to be hosting today's webinar, which we've organized to celebrate the launch of Finaloop's long-awaited market-leading integration with TikTok Shop. We have loads to get through. We'll be doing a deep dive into TikTok Shop to understand what makes things tick on the platform, top strategy, and the big mistakes to avoid. Along the way, we'll also be picking up specific BFCM tips for TikTok Shop. And of course, we'll see why Finaloop's integration is an absolute game changer and a must for anyone selling on TikTok Shop who actually cares about their numbers. Anyone who has any questions, I've just opened the chat. Feel free to use it. We'll try and pick them up as we go along. If we don't get around to it, we'll endeavor to get back to you after the session. So let's jump straight in, and it's an absolute pleasure to welcome today's panelists. We have Jordan West, CEO and founder of Social Commerce Club, one of North America's leading agencies for TikTok Shop. This guy probably knows more about TikTok Shop than the guys at TikTok Shop themselves. A true fountain of wisdom, and highly recommend to consult with his team if you're thinking of launching or scaling on the platform. Russell Sachs, an example of one of our many customers who is crushing it on TikTok Shop. We look forward to hearing his journey and tips. And we have Rayla Rappaport, who leads product marketing at Finaloop, a good personal friend from our days at PwC, who will be breaking down the power of the new integration. Okay, so Jordan, I want to start with you. So firstly, welcome. There are many listeners who will have heard a lot of the buzz about the platform or been watching from the side, probably with a little degree of envy, talking about a platform that's growing 100% year on year compared to a meager 5% in the wider ecom market. But they're not sure if, when, how to launch on the platform. So I really want to start with just the basics. Can you give our audience an overview of the platform, how it works, what drives sales on the platform, and what makes it so unique and different to other channels? But let's start with the ABC.
Sounds great. This is so many questions. No, I can do this. TikTok Shop is amazing. So for those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Jordan West. I owned 8 different brands over the years, a couple of different agencies, doing some software stuff right now. I have been obsessed with D2C since like the early days of Shopify, and like really loved, all of that. And last 2 years ago, I saw TikTok Shop come around, and at first I was like, so this is just another place to check out. And I still think a lot of people think that, right? It's like, okay, it's just another place that you're going to send people. It's finally like a closed loop for TikTok. That is not what it is. But that is why I was first actually interested in it, because TikTok drives so much awareness for brands, but it's really, really hard to measure. Like the only way that TikTok's really been able to measure it well, I actually saw an email this morning where they said 80% of last click conversion doesn't actually get tracked. And I totally believe that on TikTok. Yet brands could already see the halo onto their D2C and Amazon before TikTok Shop. And so when I saw TikTok Shop come around, I delved into the platform and looked and realized that it was the first time that a platform had created a win-win with users, right? Like we've all, I'm sure, tried affiliate marketing, like straight to D2C. The problem with classic affiliate marketing is it's just hard to track, and creators don't get that dopamine hit of actually making money fast. And that's what you need to do, right? You need to close those feedback loops with your creators. And that's what TikTok Shop does really, really well. So at its core, what TikTok Shop is any creator that wants to on the platform that qualifies can sell whatever item they want on the platform if they get accepted. And that's the incredible thing. Right now, there's like 2.6 million active creators. Now, not all of those have actually made money, but this is really like the amazing thing is that you have this incredible creator army that can go out there and actually sell for you. So one of the things that I tell brands all the time is like, sell to the creators, don't sell to the customer, right? Your job is just to sell to the creators. So that's constantly what I'm talking about in this space. So that's kind of the like general overview of like where I see TikTok Shop and why it's so incredibly different. One other just quick thing to note, just to sort of get everyone to wrap their minds around this, is TikTok Shop is whitelisting on steroids. The entire way that TikTok Shop works, and yes, there are some exceptions where brands use their brand page to market, But for the most part, it's all whitelisting, right? So you're running ads through other people's profiles. Even the best brands, like one of the things that we do at Social Commerce Club, the agency that I run, is we run these marketing accounts. So marketing accounts are owned by the brand, but they look like third parties that are actually pointing to the shop. So that's a really great way to do it, but it's still whitelisting, right? So whitelisted ads in general are the ones that are actually converting right now. Sorry, I'll stop talking.
Thank you. That's very helpful. And I think I've heard you mention this analogy of it being a different muscle set to other channels. Maybe just kind of help us understand like what's unique in terms of the way you would approach TikTok Shop, which you wouldn't do on other platforms.
Totally. So I think that most brands are used to scaling on Amazon or Facebook ads, right? Let's just kind of put that out there, as that's like where 90% of spend is happening, is on those two platforms. Amazon, let's talk about that first, right? Because there's probably a lot of Amazon sellers on here. Amazon is at its core, is a demand capture channel, right? You're going on there and you're trying to capture whatever demand is happening. You're trying to bid on these keywords that make a lot of sense for your specific product. And at the end of the day, you are only going to be able to capture whatever demand is there. Facebook, on the other hand, right? Meta ads are demand gen, right? So we have this whole demand generation side of things. Now we have TikTok Shop come around, and TikTok Shop is incredibly demand gen focused, right? And that's one of the really big changes in the way that brands need to look at TikTok Shop specifically, is that it's all based around this demand generation.
I want to down a lot of those concepts in more detail. You've mentioned quite a lot the affiliates, the halo effect, bringing the creatives, and the kind of the difference between also influence and affiliates.
This is the biggest thing, and this is where brands, like the majority of brands, get this wrong. For the longest time, brands were so used to just talking to the system to buy them ads, right? The biggest difference with TikTok Shop is that you're actually talking to humans. You're not just buying media, you're buying media through humans. And so you have to have that human interaction. If you're a really good media buyer, you're probably not yet skilled enough, and you have not built the muscle of what it's actually like to try to get somebody and motivate them into actually selling your product. And that's one of the biggest things. It's like, you're not just pressing go on ads, right? You actually have to get people motivated and understand your product. If anything, TikTok Shop's an incredible exercise in just understanding what people are motivated by from the creative side. And it's not just money. That it's not just money. So sorry, that okay. I just wanted to make sure I said that.
Great. Okay, so stay tuned. As I said, we'll break down a lot of those concepts and the strategic side in more detail. Russell, I want to go over to you. Can you tell us firstly about your brand, yourself, and your growth story? Let's go from there.
Totally. My name is Russell Sachs. I run the brand Be Amazing, CEO of the brand. We sell premium high-end supplements, wellness products like vegan protein. We have the first ever greens pre-made in a can. It's an organic fruits and vegetables. And we made a really hard pivot to TikTok about 8 or 9 months ago at this point, and it has been insanely transformative for our business. We basically figured out that was the greatest new customer CAC we could possibly get. And from there, realized the halo effect to other channels was just absolutely absurd. I've been in the direct-to-consumer space now for over 10 or 15 years. I started my first business out of college. And when I think back to that time when Meta ads were just becoming prevalent, it was almost like printing money, and the ROAS were absolutely absurd. And obviously that's degraded over time. TikTok Shop has been, if you can crack it, to me, one of the greatest opportunities since I've been doing this. And I think it's still super early. And although you have a ton of brands hopping in, the really big guys still aren't in there. And I think the upside is just absolutely absurd. So for us, we're continuing to double down on TikTok every single day, and excited to chat through what that looks like for us.
Awesome. Thank you. And in terms of like the buyers that you're seeing on TikTok Shop, Russell, like what's your target audience? And also, have you found like a particular sweet spot which works on TikTok Shop?
So our brand is 90% women ages 25 to 38. And what we found is that it is super harmonious on TikTok to what we see on the direct-to-consumer side. It's almost a one-for-one demographically speaking. And I think that's kind of part of what we see as building success on TikTok, is knowing your customer really well and then knowing the types of content that's going to speak to that end customer.
Thank you. And Jordan, so that from Russell, that sounds Gen Zs and Millennials. Are you seeing that as like the core demographic, or is it broader?
What we see from like the bigger kind of like higher side of things is that the best creators are millennial moms. They just like happen to like be so like if you have a brand that they can sell, you are absolutely golden. I think that there's something, and I don't know, it'd be like interesting to delve into like why this is exactly. But I think that as people get a little bit older, they just become better at selling. Just because you're a good influencer does not mean that you're going to be a good creator. Two totally different skill sets, right? One is a salesperson that is actually figuring out how to sell because they have to. Right? An influencer just like, I'm just going to drop here, right? Like they could be like in a bikini and be like, oh, buy these greens, right? Versus actually talking about the product. That's the big difference that I see.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's a huge differentiation between the two. We built this brand initially before we made this huge TikTok pivot. We built it with influencers. I think that the other big thing is with influencers, from a data point perspective, we used to be able to identify really easily, like, hey, this person's probably going to have a pretty high success rate based on their demographic, based on their engagement, based on their following. And I think with TikTok, what we've learned at least is we're not smart enough to figure out who the
Totally.
best creators are going to end up being. And we're certainly not smart enough to figure out the type of content that's going to go viral. I think for us, TikTok has become this ultimate testing ground. We're super data driven and we have these really fun collabs, like with Dole, for instance, and we released this Dole Whip strawberry flavor, which was super successful. But all of our social listening said that a Dole Whip pineapple flavor was really what everyone wanted. So we took a flyer on it and made a few thousand units, and with the help of TikTok Shop, literally sold out those 5,000 units within
Of
48
course.
hours.
Russell, who would be obsessed with Dole Whip? To me, it'd be
Yeah,
millennials, right?
it
Like
is
that's the thing. Like when we go to
100%.
Disney, every single time it's like, oh, we gotta go get Dole Whip, gotta go get Dole Whip, right? And it's like that. Like there's this demo that works really well. There's a brand that we've worked with that they've done a lot of like massive collabs with like SpongeBob, right? That one just crushed because again, millennials, that's their category. So like when people think of it as a Gen Z platform, I'm like, yes, it is absolutely, but it's still the millennials that have all the purchasing power, and I think that exactly shows that. Like, and these like as you're doing some of these deals that you're doing, like with Dole and IHOP, et cetera, et cetera. Those are really good things to keep in mind, right? Like that nostalgia of millennials that like really works on the platform.
And what about price point, AOV? Is there conventional wisdom about what sells best on the platform? I've heard like lower AOV, more impulse buying, or have you seen it work for higher AOV as well?
All I want to say
Hit
is the
that?
top three products right now, two of them are over $200, the AOV.
Oh, wow.
So the top three products on all of TikTok Shop right now, and those are Ninja products. Which again, Ninja, if you're watching, why have you not come to Social Commerce Club? We would we would love to work with you. But no, they're obviously doing great. We're actually launching a like one of the biggest consumer brands that you can think of in the world in the next month or so, and their AOV is going to be in the like 300 to 500 range. So
Wow.
is it possible? Absolutely. You need to have more and more of an investment, just like you do with any high AOV product.
Because of the sampling specifically.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to send these big products out, right, like it obviously costs a lot, and you want to make sure that you're going to get like the best bang for your buck with these. And so you want to make sure that you're actually reaching out to high GMV creators to start, who can actually, who will actually produce for your product. That's the kind of scary thing. But these are bigger brands too, right? So they've got the budget.
For us, from a strategy perspective, to be honest, initially it was very tough on the higher price point products. And what we found was TikTok is a different, although we have a similar demographic, it's an entirely new audience. And you have the ability to cater to this huge amount of people overnight if you're doing things correctly. So for us, from a strategy perspective, it was heavy discounting initially because we needed to build our brand on TikTok, just like our brand was built off of TikTok. As far as we were concerned, from the data we were seeing, no one knew who the hell we were on day one.
Yeah.
And it required us to rebuild our brand on TikTok. And part of that initial strategy was discounting. Now, just to take the point on the Dole Whip pineapple, we sold out of those 5,000 units. We were discounting it slightly. We finally have gotten it back after a 3-month wait. And we said, we're going to test out this thesis of, is our brand actually being built on TikTok, or are these super price driven, price sensitive customers? And what we found was that it's actually not price driven customers, because when we released it back in stock, we said 0 discount. And we have been selling just as much as we did the first time. So we're really excited about kind of watching this thesis start to play out in real time, where it's actually not necessarily about discounting, but more about building the actual brand integrity on the TikTok platform.
That's really, really interesting. Thanks, Russell. We
Yeah.
will dive deeper into some of the strategic issues, especially around the launch. I want to move over, Rayla, to you. We haven't given you any FaceTime yet, but here's your moment to shine.
Soaking it all in, it's okay.
Explain to us what Finaloop's built and what makes this integration so special and unique, different to basically every other solution out there.
Absolutely. So first of all, I just want to piggyback a second off of what Russell just said. And I think that's so true that, each of the different sales channels that you have, in some ways, your brand is different for each of those sales channels. So tracking the profitability and how your business is doing for each sales channel separately is super important. And that's really where integrations like TikTok come in, because when you're not looking at everything and you're not getting the data that you need on a really granular channel by channel level, then you're missing out on a huge importance in terms of being able to make better decisions for your business. So segueing into our TikTok integration, I'd say that one thing that we've learned as we've really delved into all of the granular detail behind TikTok and the back end and how the data is driven and all the different types of fees is, number one, and this is something that both Jordan and Russell said before, is TikTok is a very different type of platform than every other sales channel. And the fact that there are so many different types of fees, and there's platform discounts, there's seller discounts, there's affiliate fees, referral fees, there's discounts there's fees on an order basis, there's fees and adjustments on an overall basis that just impacts your payouts. There's all these different components and all these different levels. And it's still, until we started really diving in and peeling back the layers, we didn't ourselves realize how complex it was. This was like in the very beginning. And as we peeled back each layer, we thought to ourselves, okay, there's no way that most sellers have any visibility into this and any understanding of what they're actually selling, what type of fees they're actually paying for, and their actual profitability, both in terms of on the SKU level and in terms of just overall on the financial health of their business. There's no way that you can understand all of those granular levels from the TikTok Shop dashboard, or even if you have an integration through Shopify or something like that. So that's one reason that it's so complex, is just there's so many different types of transactions and fees and different types of adjustments and movements that you need to be able to track. And then the second one is, and I think that this is something that people forget sometimes, is that TikTok Shop is still very young. And because it's such a young platform, the way that the back end is built, it's a bit messy. It's something that's constantly changing. They're constantly trying to improve it. But because of that, it makes it very hard to build an integration that really pulls in the data, because the data is constantly changing.
You can blame Jordan for that. He's constantly telling them what to change.
Thanks a lot, Jordan. You made our job very interesting. But we really, they have new policies, new fees. Sometimes they have the same fees, they just call it something different. So it's understanding that data. You need to understand it inside and out to really be able to then take that data and map it to the right accounts based on, e-commerce accounting best practices, which is the only way to really give you that full visibility that you need on the financial side. So with that whole intro, I'll dive into, give you guys a little bit of a tour of the integration. And I'm going to start with, instead of just going straight into the Finaloop integration and show you what we have, I want to show you what happens, like what the TikTok Shop order looks like and how that syncs into Shopify. So obviously most of you, I'm sure, know what a TikTok Shop order looks like. My guess is a lot of you are already sellers. If you're not, then it'll be new for you. But let me just share my screen here. You can see it? Everything good?
Yep.
Excellent. Okay, so this is just a very typical basic TikTok Shop order. You see that there's all of these different types of levels in terms of the, the types of fees. You have your overall sales, you have your seller discount, you have a TikTok shop discount, you have shipping. There's all these different complexities. Again, you can have ones that have way more complexity than this. This is just one example. And then, of course, if you dive into the actual settlement breakdown, you can see even more. You can all these different types of fee offsets, discounts, the referral fee, the affiliate commission, everything that really impacts what's going to be the settlement and ultimately going to be the payout into your account. In this example, this is a regular order. There is no refund involved. It's a regular close order, all of it reconciled back. But now I want to show you what this order looks like when you sync it into Shopify. So again, this is taking that same TikTok order that we just saw, but this is looking at it in Shopify in terms of the data that's synced into Shopify. So here you have that same sales amount, you have that same seller discount, and you have the tax amount, but that's it in terms of the visibility. So we're missing the TikTok platform discount here. We're missing referral fees. We're missing the affiliate commissions. We're missing a lot of those granular details as to the different discounts. This is all you see. So much so that it's showing you that you actually owe a refund to the customer here of 29 cents, which is not true. We saw in TikTok that this was not the case. There is no refund, but there's a gap in the data that is syncing into Shopify. So Shopify identifies that as a refund. And of course, 29 cents is not a huge amount. When you're multiplying that, for thousands of orders, then obviously that really adds up. And then you're getting a financial view that is very different than the actual view. So I'm just going to also show you what this actually would look like if you're syncing all of the data through Shopify. And this is also, by the way, what a lot of different accounting firms do, what a lot of different accounting softwares do. If they have some kind of integration, what they're saying is to TikTok, typically it's actually through Shopify, which means that this is the data that you're seeing, and it's exactly the same data that we just saw in Shopify. So you're seeing the sales and the seller discounts, but you're missing the TikTok platform discounts. You're missing all of that granular detail, the affiliate, the referral, all of that information is not syncing in because that's not what's in Shopify.
Both, Rayla, just to be clear here. So the order itself doesn't reconcile because it's missing some of the discounts on the order level. And then we're saying that all the noise underneath, like the affiliate commissions, which is the most important part, is that's just like, that's outside, that becomes just a plug number between the order and the net payout. You don't have that visibility through the Shopify integration.
Exactly. So because of the fact that not all of the orders are perfectly reconciled back to the way that is in TikTok, what ends up happening is obviously the payout that you ultimately get from TikTok into your account, it doesn't reconcile back to all the data that was brought in. So you can create a plug number in order to make sure that everything is reconciled, but that plug number is not going to give you the granular visibility into what that actually includes. So there are sort of like these hacks that you can do in order to make sure that your financials on a high level are still reconciled out and matching, but it's not giving you that visibility that you need. Okay, so now that we sort of explained what the issue is, I want to be able to show you what it actually looks like when you sync real TikTok data directly into Finaloop through this new integration. So, okay, this is an example of our order screen in Finaloop. And essentially, we sync all the different order data that you have in TikTok directly into your Finaloop account. So if it's giveaways or it's regular orders, we sync everything. And now I'm going to show you what an order looks like that we're syncing. Okay. This is not the same order, by the way, as the example I showed you in Shopify. So don't try to think about how to match these numbers. It's a completely different order. But you can see that the level of detail that we're able to bring in is we're bringing in each of the different types of discounts. We're bringing in, and this is something you don't see here, obviously, because you don't see it necessarily in the order, but we're also syncing the affiliate fees, the referral fees. We're syncing any information on whether it was fulfilled by TikTok, whether it was fulfilled by the merchant, which warehouses. We're syncing all of this data automatically now into your financials. And then what our integration does is it automatically takes that data and it maps it out to your P&L and to your balance sheet based on e-commerce best practices so that you actually get that visibility into your profitability, into all of your different sales channels, but specifically in this case, TikTok. So let me just show you an example now of a P&L and how this is all being synced into that P&L. Okay, so here, again, I just highlighted the relevant accounts that you would see. Again, you could be seeing a lot of different accounts depending on what's relevant for your brand, but this is just an example. So you have, TikTok sales, discounts, refunds, your cost of goods sold, which we'll talk about in a bit more detail in a minute, because obviously that's also a super important part. fulfillment service fees, shipping and freight out, shipping back from customers. All of this is granularly broken down for TikTok Shop, your selling fees, affiliate marketing, promotions, paid online ads, and also all of your product giveaways, meaning every time that you have a sample in TikTok, which obviously is a huge part of the whole TikTok structure, that automatically is going to sync into your product giveaways as part of your marketing expenses. So that's automatic. You don't have to think twice about it. You have all that visibility there as well. Now I'm going to show you, but it doesn't only affect your P&L, it also impacts your balance sheet. So I'm going to show you quickly what that does. You know, you might think, okay, like all of this data that I showed you so far, maybe you could just go into your TikTok dashboard and be able to see from there, you know, the sales information or some of your ad spend. You'll be able to see a lot of details in the dashboard. But the dashboard won't ever give you that visibility in terms of giving you that full financial picture. And that's because that is not going to match the payout ultimately that you're getting. So, you know, when you have a customer that's coming and ordering, you'll have a lot of that data that flows in, but it could be that you have customers that are still owing you that money. So then we also track those accounts receivable. If those customers are already paid, but TikTok is still holding on to that cash and they haven't deposited into your account yet, or if it's on reserve, we track all of that here as well. So you really have, again, all of the data you can possibly have in TikTok, every granular level, every cent reconciles back and is synced into Finaloop. Now I want to take a second to go back to the order that we were looking at before. Again, this is the same order. I mentioned before about the importance of COGS and inventory, and obviously that's, you know, a huge, I want to say of huge importance to every seller, but also a huge pain for every seller. It's really hard to really track all of that information because it's constantly changing. A lot of people are doing it through, let's say, you know, messy Excels, or it can be very time consuming. In this case, what we do is when we're syncing all the information from TikTok, we're also syncing it to impact and directly be able to track your COGS and inventory as well. So we're just digging into to the product itself. Obviously, I had to blur the product because, you know, keep everything anonymous, but you can still get the idea here. So in the products page, we sync all of the products that you're selling from your different sales channels. So you can see the TikTok here that those products are syncing. And now I want to show you, just dive into one product specifically as an example. Whenever you're selling your products, your COGS needs to automatically increase, obviously. You know, in this example, and by the way, this is a real brand. This is not like made up numbers. In this example, you know, just for this product, 17,000 units were fulfilled. You're not going to constantly be updating this manually. This is, you know, no one has time for that, especially as you're selling this many products. So all of this information is syncing automatically, and then is automatically recording the COGS for you and reducing your inventory accordingly so you can track all of those units. And again, when we're syncing the data, we're also syncing the information of, you know, whether it's through fulfilled by TikTok, FBT, or if it's through a specific warehouse, we're able to sync all your warehouse data as well. So you're really able to track everything on that granular level. And then also here in the product giveaways for a specific product, we sync all this as well. So whenever you have those samples, that will automatically be in your Finaloop books, and everything you'll be able to see everything here. Now,
this is so nice, by the way. I'm so excited for this, and I'm sure Russell is too. Like, well, Russell, you've been using this integration, but like, this is so good because nobody really has a handle on any of their finances when it comes to like giving away product, for instance.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like, Finaloop's the most forward-looking I mean, we've been on every major accounting platform there is, and I know this is kind of like me plugging Finaloop here, obviously, but I genuinely say, like, there's not, like, our CFO is appreciative 10 times over for something like this. This was something that we were tracking manually. It almost reminds me of early days of like what Amazon was like just kind of a cluster and insanely hard to read and not comprehensive at all, whereas the information we're getting is so dynamic. Every single order is so different. Every single order does have different discounting. It does have different commission structures, whether it came from an ad, from a waitlist, it's all different. So this is, I mean, literally heaven for anyone that's an accountant.
Oh, amazing. I love hearing that. And I'm so happy that you're using it. And by the way, so far, I think everything that I've seen, Russell, you've been able to actually use because, it was open to you fairly early on, so you can actually test it out and play around with it. So I'm happy,
Yeah.
I know that you've been able to use it up until now. But I'm actually about to show two screens that are brand new features that are going to be released this week. So these are ones that are actually going to be new for you also, but I think
Okay.
you'll be very excited. So one thing about TikTok, obviously, I think in general about any integration is it's so important that you trust the numbers. There's a lot of integrations out there that don't work, that they say, okay, they sync everything, and then you're looking and you're like, this is not reconciling, this isn't matching up. And because of that, it's very important that we give you that trust, that you know that these numbers are reconciled back to your source of truth. So we actually have a TikTok Shop reconciliation page here, where essentially we sync, let me just scroll down for a minute here. So we're showing you the total settlement amount that you have, that you would see in TikTok Shop. You have your total. It's a total settlement that's basically a combination of a lot of different statements, and this is exactly what you'd see in your statements on TikTok. And we reconcile it back to the total amount in Finaloop to make sure that you have everything reconciled. I literally became an accountant because I love it when things match up and are all reconciled. So this makes me very happy.
I used to work. I used to work in like a finance department in a multinational, and the biggest time killer is like month-end reconciliation, where there's like 1,000. Companies making hundreds of millions, but if something is $1,000 off, right, it could also be $100,000 off, and everyone is chasing around like hours and hours, killing time because of this reconciliation issue. So to be able to just see, hey, this is the same number, and if you just kind of go above, this is like, and this is how it maps out onto the accounts, then that's gold dust.
No, I agree. I used to like spend so much time reconciling everything, especially back in the previous days before we were doing this stuff, and it's such a game changer to have that trust that these numbers are matching up. So again, this is just showing you that the same number, and it's giving you the breakdown of how it actually is showing in your P&L. And then of course, some of it also goes to, a balance sheet, depending on if your accrual of cash, because of the fact that we want to make sure everything is completely accurate from an accounting perspective. So you have this level of breakdown that gives you that comfort on the reconciliation side. And then the last thing that I'll show you, and this is also something that's brand new going out this week, is I've been talking so much about the importance of financial visibility and giving you, here you see that all of that data syncs into Finaloop, which is great, but you need to also be able to take that data and really be able to use it in order to track your profitability and understand your numbers and make better decisions. So we'll actually have our new SKU analysis page specifically for TikTok, which is going to be going up as well. So you'll be able to see all of your different SKUs and be able to track your profit margins for each of those SKUs, your profitability per each unit of those SKUs. So you can really track everything from all of your TikTok sales, discounts, COGS, everything, be able to really track a lot of that information here.
That's a really big deal. This is a CEO's dream, and also from an investor perspective, incredible.
Thank you. So I think that's it on the integration side. So well, that's it. It's a lot.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's a ton.
But
thanks
I'll
very
leave
much,
it back
Raina.
to you, because I think there's a limit of how much accounting talk people can take in one session.
Yeah, I know we're trying to get in quite a lot here. I'm conscious of this, so I want to move back and kind of discuss. I think we'll do some kind of quick fire questions for people maybe new to the platform or thinking of launching on it, kind of to get them a better sense of what goes on behind the scenes. So Jordan, you mentioned you've got this army of influencers, or sorry, that's a misspeak, right? I shouldn't call them influencers, creators.
Don't call them influencers.
So they're basically fully incentivized to work for you. It's this perfect closed ecosystem, and they're basically reselling your products, totally incentivized to do that. So how much are you paying these affiliates? Is it pure commission? Are there retainers?
So I'll start, Russell, and we can hear Russell's like exact use case as well. But for us, it's really different depending on the brand and sort of like the size of brand. Being on the agency level, we have sort of a wider view of a lot of different brands. What we recommend is that brands actually spend a decent amount on creator incentives. So I don't love paying retainers, but there are times where it makes sense to pay retainers, especially to proven high GMV creators. I think that's where it really comes in. And paying a retainer is a really good idea, especially if it's somebody who's already worked with a huge competitor of yours and is willing to come and work with you for a certain amount of videos. I would definitely do that. One of the things that I would really lean on is paying a higher commission than you think at the beginning on organic sales that come through. So making sure to like really ratchet up your organic commission. So if you think about it, like a 40% commission is a 2.5 return on ad spend on any other platform, right? So that's not crazy yet. I hardly see any brands actually offering a 40% organic commission. Now you can have two different commission levels, right? You can have your organic commission up here, and then down here, you can have your ads driven commission. And so you can have that one a lot less, the ads driven commission, but you can have your organic commission a lot higher. So that's a way to do it, to like really seem generous to the creators and incentivize them to get more and more organic sales.
Got you. And how many, like a brand which is doing well in the platform, how many creators would you have like actually in your community at one point of time? Like, any goal setting there?
Yeah, so let's do some math here, right? So TikTok Shop to me is the 80-20 of the 80-20. So you get 100 creators. Of those 100 creators, 20 of those videos are going to be decent, right? Doesn't really matter what pool you fish in, unless you have your own high GMV creator community, which we already have at Social Commerce Club, which is awesome. We've been building that for like the last 2 years. So that's something that we have. But when you're going out there and you're finding creators, 20 of them are going to be good. Again, we're going to 80-20 that 20. 4 of those are going to have some sort of virality around them, right? And that's just like the way that the math works no matter what, right? Like when we're doing the math, like you can usually count on that as a principle. So when we send 100 samples, we're probably going to have 4 that are going to go viral and 4 that we're going to want to keep in our creator community. So what that means is that we need to be sending out a lot of samples. And the brands that we see that are really, really successful either have had some sort of viral moment where tons of creators want to come and work with them, and then they don't even need to send out samples because the creators actually just go and buy the product because they're riding a wave, right? That's one of the like really big things. But on the other side, it's just a matter of like just running the numbers, right? And seeing how many of these samples you can actually send out and then trying to get as many videos per sample. So a really big hack is like we're always at Social Commerce Club, we're attempting to get 5 videos per sample that we send out, right? And what that is all about is creating community. And so like we use this Blitz methodology, which I can get into. I don't think we have enough time quite for it, but during the Blitz methodology, the idea is that we actually
Jordan, I think there have been actually a few questions about kind of getting that initiation, the first creators. How do you get the interest to start with? So I do think it's worth dedicating a couple minutes.
Oh, sure.
To
sure, yeah, I could do like a 2-minute Blitz sort of strategy talk here. So the idea with the Blitz strategy, and we just accidentally found ourselves doing this strategy. It was just kind of funny. It was like we looked back on everyone that was successful that we've worked with, and we're like, oh, we accidentally did this Blitz methodology. And so the idea is that you send out samples to creators and you let them know. So when you reach out to the creators, you actually let them know, hey, by the way, we don't want you to post any videos yet. We're all going to be posting videos together on this date. So let's say it's like 2 weeks from now, right? So on September 30th, we are going to be posting. Please make your videos before that. But on that date, for that 48 hours, we want you to post all 5 of your videos, and we want them to be all posted at 9 a.m. on the 30th. If you want to be a part of this program, so this is how we actually get people, high GMV creators into our communities right away. So we say, if you want to be a part of this Blitz strategy, by the way, we're going to be spending $20,000 on ads in those 2 days. So if you get your content in, it will be picked up by GMV Max. And we want you to be a part of this because we're going to be putting a lot of ad spend behind it, and it's going to have some sort of virality around it. Creators love that, right? They want to be a part of a movement rather than just being like, yeah, we're just kind of like, yeah, just put your content out whenever. Instead, what we're trying to do is create moments. So at at the brands that I owned over the years, we did moment marketing all the time, right? Like that was like, I was in apparel. So it was like constant drops and moments and creating FOMO and gating things and all of this stuff right together. And so that's the really cool thing that you can do with this Blitz methodology is then let them know, hey, if you want to be a part of this, I'm not going to approve your sample until you join our Discord or WhatsApp group. I recommend WhatsApp, by the way, everyone. Everyone is saying Discord. The problem with Discord is it's like being in D2C or like in the Amazon world and joining a Slack community. It's like, yeah, there's 7 trillion of them. Like you're not there. They don't always just check all of them. I think a lot of people have turned their Discord notifications off because it's so crazy versus WhatsApp, where everyone still has their WhatsApp notifications on. It's much more like text messaging. So we invite them into a WhatsApp community, and that's how we immediately start to get creators into our community. Now, one of the things that you need to be aware of is, and that works a lot better. Again, this is just like all like customer psychology kind of stuff with your creators. You want to make sure to gate them being in. So first of all, we're not going to give you a sample unless you be a part of this. And number 2, we need you to fill out an application form. Most brands are not doing that, right? Like the majority of brands are not doing that kind of thing. And so when you come at them with some sort of gate, it creates like it immediately lets the cream rise to the top, right? So people are like, oh wow, okay, I do want to be a part of this. Wow, this looks like a really good launch that they're doing, right? And so that's where I'm talking about like this muscle that most brands have not yet started to work out, right? Like those are the things that you need to be doing to like actually tap into the psychology of creators.
And this is like, is this a known methodology in like the affiliate world? Do they understand what you're trying to do with this, like with this type of Blitz strategy?
It's not well known enough yet. Like not enough people are out there doing it. I saw another agency owner starting to talk about it the other day, and he's like, I got this from Jordan. So like, I don't think that it's yet something anyone who's owned an apparel brand knows the drop methodology. Like we do this all the time. Every single week we drop something new. So I don't know if creators are super aware of it. So I would not say, hey, we're doing a Blitz.
Right.
Let's say a Blitz. And this is what it looks like, by the way. We know that we want to tap into LinkedIn, into TikTok's algo, right? Like we want to tap into that algo to go viral on the entire platform and make it look like we're everywhere. And we want you to be a part of that, right? You're calling people into this.
They get what you're trying to do. Like they understand the philosophy behind it.
I think in 2 sentences, you can let people know just a couple of bullet points, right? Of like what you're trying to do.
Got you. And Russell, do you have what tips do you have about building and also nurturing an affiliate community?
Yeah, I'm going to give away a lot of our secret sauce here. For us, we see TikTok Shop as like the ultimate flywheel, and it has this insane compounding effect when you're successful, and that's why you can achieve scale so quickly. So for us, getting out of the gate, it's like, how do you get your product sold when you have no sales velocity? And for us, the answer ended up being, well, we kind of need to fake it till we make it a little bit. And what that looked like was seeding product to influencers or creators, rather, outside of TikTok Shop's integration system. Us going out of the way, contacting these creators via email, phone number, whatever we can get a hold of them and say, hey, we're just going to send you this product. We're also going to pay you $500 to do it for a video if we think the person has a lot of potential, or $200 or whatever it is. And we'll also give you commission on top of that. One of those videos inevitably will go viral over time. And then you have your sales velocity. And because TikTok creators can see sales velocity, that's where this compounding effect comes into play, where they say, okay, this product obviously is really easy to sell, or it's a really popular product. So you get all these new people jumping on to create content and request samples. Those people get those samples, and those people create content, and it just keeps building from there. So for us, the key crucial component was actually doing it outside of TikTok. And once we had our core creators and we had the people that we knew were going to perform, look, not every video is going to work. TikTok, like everyone's talking about, is a bit of a slot machine, but it comes down to as many kind of shots at goal as you can possibly take. And sorry, Jordan, on this one, but we do use Discord. We found it to be really successful for us. And what we do is we take our top 20 creators and we actually coach them and work with them one-on-one in these weekly and bi-weekly meetings. We say, hey, every week we're looking at our top pieces of content. Here's what's performing really well. This week, and this is the big thing about TikTok. It's like just because something worked a few months ago doesn't mean it's going to work now. And I think that's kind of this crazy component of TikTok where it's like with meta ads, it's like, okay, you know pretty quickly if something's going to work or not, and maybe it'll work over a long period of time. TikTok, these things are changing weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. So we're constantly testing. We're constantly trying to figure out, okay, this month it was a protein pancake recipe with IHOP, but next month maybe it's like a funfetti dip, which that has been the component for us that makes videos go viral consistently. It's things that people aren't necessarily going to do with the product, but they're so unique and scroll stopping, so to speak, that they want to know more. So like, someone's creating a protein funfetti dip with their vegan protein to eat healthy cookies. I mean, that's not something anyone's going to actually spend the time to do, but it does sell the product and it does get more people interested and it does get creators to want to get samples.
Cool. And I think I'm seeing a few questions on this, but just like as a practical question, you're going on TikTok Shop. How do you find those affiliates to begin with?
Yeah, we use a couple of external tools. The big one we use is called Kalodata, Kalodata. And what we'll do is we'll look for like-minded brands. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the space, but we'll say, okay, here's a brand that is somewhat adjacent to us in some capacity. Here are the types of videos that are going really well for them. And what it actually allows you to do with this platform is say, here are their top creators, and here's their top pieces of content, and here's how long they've been trending for. And we use a lot of that external data ourselves to try to, one, figure out, are those creators maybe we want to work with ourselves? And if not, maybe there's a spin or an angle on the content that we're not currently leveraging that we want to leverage.
Gotcha. There's a question which is coming from Claire, which I want to put to you, Russell. Are you sampling?
Sure.
Are you sampling all of your products, or are you focusing on a hero product strategy and focusing only on like those products?
First, we were sampling everything, but what we quickly learned is that TikTok definitely pegs certain products as the hero. And our belief and part of our thesis is that part of the TikTok algorithm and them pushing more of your videos out is actually how much you are sampling. And that part of their algorithm is attributing how much are you willing to sample and kind of invest and buy into the TikTok platform. So we internally have a couple of goals monthly. There's a sampling goal where we're trying to get X number of samples out every month. There's a content goal where we're saying, okay, we need at least 5,000 to 6,000 pieces of organic content to be posted every single month in order to maintain or increase our sales volume. And 3, here are the number of new creators.
How much organic content did you say?
For us, right? So like for us right now, we're getting 5,000 to 6,000 pieces of content every month.
Wow.
I can confirm across the board that is the sort of scale that you're looking to get to be one of the top, like to be in like sort of getting into that shop sort of category. Like a brand that we work with, they did about 3 million last month, and they had, I think, around 11,000.
That sounds about right.
Videos. Yeah.
When you're trying to do 7 figures on TikTok, the bare minimum is going to be in the low thousands to mid thousands of pieces of content. It's just, and it's a pure numbers game. I mean, look, you can get lucky, but the likelihood is, statistically, it's not in your favor. You want as many pieces of content out there as possible, and you constantly need to refresh that content, because what is driving those sales on day 1 through 5 of the month aren't going to be the piece of content that are doing it on the 28th through 30th day of the month.
Okay. Another question from Neil. Can you give us an insight, like what's happening, what's actually being discussed on these groups, whether it's WhatsApp or Discord? How are you nurturing those groups? Like, how are you creating those? Creating the interest, keeping it fresh, and keeping the incentives alive.
We have a full-time moderator. We are doing weekly contests and campaigns. Could be anything from get a free trip flown out to our HQ, could be the new iPhone. We're constantly doing different campaigns, and and I think the big thing here, and I think this is kind of what makes the content community so unique on TikTok, is everyone's really trying to help each other, which is something that we don't see too often in kind of the creator space. These guys are saying, hey, this is what's work. Like everyone can win is really the mentality. We can all make money here. Here's the types of, I just posted this video. It already has 1,000 views in the first 10 minutes. You guys should try posting something like this. Or, hey, do you guys mind helping boost my content? Here's what
So
I
because
just
they're
posted.
feeding off each other's success, right? In that sense,
That's
it's like,
correct.
okay, got you.
And it becomes self-policing a little bit, where it's like you don't necessarily need to moderate at a certain point. You've got this group with tens of thousands of people who are just so I mean, people are making this their full-time job now. There's no question about it. So they are day in and day out just trying to be better, trying to figure out what strategies are working best for them or working best for other people. So it's a real group where people try to help each other.
Got you. Jordan, what would you say about like the interaction between the affiliates and ads, and like how important is it to boost the interest from the affiliates with ad spend as well?
Yeah, for sure. So like previous strategies before GMV Max was required for everyone. Previous strategies were like, hey, we're going to promise high GMV creators more ad spend. I actually don't like doing that with GMV Max. You can do that if you want. We have so many data points, and we've never found that doing that does anything for, if anything, it just drags down performance. So to me, letting them know that you are going to be spending a lot and that GMV Max is going to be picking up the videos that are going to do the best converting. So the more videos that they can put in, that they tag us in, that they have automatic authorization in, or we have Spark codes for, that's the better for them, right? So because there's just not a lot of levers that you can pull on GMV Max. Like it's unfortunately, that's just the way that the platform is. There's just not a lot of levers. So so we just let creators know, like, the more videos that you put out there, the more likely that you're going to be getting ad spend on them.
And are you promising them full commissions for the ads for conversions via ads as well?
No, we're always having, because like if you do the math, it's very difficult to make money. Like if you had a 40%
That's what I was
affiliate
thinking.
rate
You're
and then
not
you're
left with
also
anything,
running
right?
ads.
Yeah.
Like that high commission rate is for them to do the work to go viral to sell your product, right? We're now as a brand putting ad spend behind it. We're still going to give them a certain amount of money. I think the entire influencer ecosystem is going to flip on its head very, very soon, where this is normalized, right? Where this percentage of either ad spend or revenue is very normalized for content, rather than normal amounts of like just a flat fee.
Yeah. Okay, I'm conscious of time. I want to cover two more points. We might go a couple of minutes over. I apologize for that. We mentioned earlier the halo effect. Russell, can you give us a bit more sense of like how significant that is, and also just practically how do you track it? How do you measure it?
So once we figured out that the new customer acquisition cost on TikTok was far better than anything else we were seeing, the next part of the thesis we wanted to test was this halo effect. And obviously we are using, data attribution tools like Triple Whale. But in order to be 100% certain, we tried this experiment where we cut all ad spend other than TikTok and said, okay, what does the incremental lift look like here? And what we found was for every dollar of GMV we did on TikTok, we did an incremental 20 to 25 cents on our website and 30 to 35 cents on Amazon. So much so that we are doing zero meta advertising today whatsoever. And we are doing zero Amazon ad spend. And we are doing more sales on Amazon than we ever have, strictly from that spillover. The only other incremental ad spend we're doing is on Google, which are just capturing folks that are leaving TikTok and Googling and trying to get to Amazon or wherever. But we have significantly caught our ad spend. Our efficiency is through the roof by comparison. And we are just all in right now on the TikTok train.
That's incredible. Jordan, does that resonate with you?
Yes, that is wild, and 100% like anecdotally what I am seeing across the board. Like, so Russell, you cut all Amazon spend.
Zero. I shouldn't say all. I mean, we're talking $200 a day on defense. That's it. So what I would consider effectively zero.
Like basically $0, right? Like
Basically
if
$0.
anyone gets a chance, there's this great interview on Open Residency with the founder of NeuroGum, and he talks about this exact same thing. He's like, I'm just spending a little bit on PMax on Google.
Same thing.
and then seeing a little bit of top of funnel coming from Meta, but the majority of all of it is coming from TikTok Shop. Like these brands that are going all in, like guys, we work with like billion-dollar brands who are doing this same strategy in the background, just so everyone knows, like massively reducing ad spend in the like 7 figures. So just so everyone understands, like this is the future.
I think you
It's
hit the nail on
wild
the head,
that
though. You have to go all in on this if you want to be
you have
successful.
to go all in. Totally. If you want to
It's
just dip
not.
your toes in, it drives me crazy.
It's not going to work.
No.
You can't just be like, oh, this is just this other thing that's going to bring in some increment. Like if that's your thing, then go for it. But it's never going to blow up unless you actually dedicate resources to it.
No,
And
and
it's
you
going to suck
will
up
lose
front.
money.
It's going to suck. It's going to yeah, up front. It's going to suck. You're going to be like, what am I doing here? But if you just stick to the plan, you stick to the strategy, eventually it does play out. And you just need that pendulum kind of to swing into your direction. Once it does, it is the scalability is just, I mean, again, I can't reiterate how unbelievably powerful it is. We like just this has been like our breakout year on TikTok. I've acquired more customers this year than the last 2.5 years of business because of TikTok Shop.
That's crazy.
Wow.
It's
That
nuts.
is wild.
Nuts. Crazy.
Wow. In terms of initial investment, this is something you both said, like you can't just dip your feet in.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Like if you're going on, you got, let's say, a mid 7-figure brand going on TikTok Shop tomorrow, how much is that initial investment to get things moving, Jordan?
So we tell people, do not go on it unless you're prepared to light 50K on fire in the first 3 months. So just don't. Like that is what you need to be. And you need to be okay with knowing what the leading indicators are that you're going to be successful, right? Like that's what you need to be reading at first, right? It's like, okay, what are the leading things that are going to be telling me that I am going to be successful in the future? But it takes a while, right? It takes a while to do that. And I'm not saying you're going to lose $50,000, but if you're not prepared to, don't go into it. For a mid 7-figure brand, just don't, right? Just keep doing your same Meta thing. Whitelist creators, do that sort of thing. But if you're not prepared to do TikTok Shop, just don't do it.
And how long does it take till you're
and come and work with us and lose 50 grand? Socialcommerceclub.com.
It's a good way to protect yourself. So, and how long are we talking about till you really start to see the fruits of the labor?
So across the board, it's more like 4 to 6 months before you start to see that. Now, we have Blitz breakouts at first. That's why we continually, somebody asked us about Blitz, like, well, how do you maintain the momentum? Moment marketing, right? So moment marketing is always finding a reason to do some sort of Blitz, right? And whether it's the same product or not, it's a different, like maybe it's a different way that you're doing it. But doing that Blitz sort of takeover is how you will get that virality and start to get those top creators who are then going to come and work with you. But like Russell said before too, like go check out, I'm a Fastmoss guy now. I've drank their Kool-Aid and I love them instead of Calidata. Doesn't really matter. You can use either one of the platforms, but on Fastmoss, like go reach out, spend the majority of your time trying to find these like massive creators that are working with your competitors and be like, hey, look, I want you to come over. I know you've like driven $1 million for them. I want you. It's the same thing as being a CEO of a company of our size now. Like my entire job is just to find the best possible people and rip them out of the companies that they're working at now, which I have done very successfully. I just want everyone to know. But it takes a long time and you have to build the relationships. It's the same thing with these creators. So you have to be relationship focused first.
Okay, and final question, BFCM round the corner. What are your thoughts in terms of strategy for TikTok Shop there?
For us, and this is what's worked really well outside of BFCM, it's go all in on TikTok for BFCM. What I mean by that is say these products either exclusively for a specific period of time or for the entire BFCM period are going to be TikTok only. And we've seen that work insanely successfully. When we launched this Dole Whip pineapple flavor, we did TikTok exclusive launch. And all of the comments were like, wow, I actually can't find this anywhere else. Some people saw knockoffs of it and like, well, I think you might be able to get it here. But it just showed you that by saying that, people were actually vetting, like, is this actually TikTok exclusive? And there was some merit to that as well. So for us, it's, again, betting. And when I say bet big on TikTok, it's we're TikTok first. So when we're thinking about the business in general, it's okay, how do we give the attention to TikTok? And what I will say, and the really nice thing about TikTok that's unlike Amazon or Meta or any of these other platforms, TikTok actually is insanely incentivized to want you to do well. They have more resources from a personnel dedicated to a brand that's growing fast than anyone I've seen. The faster we grow and the more we grow, the more incentives we get, the more they're willing to co-fund stuff, the more they're giving us free ad credits. We have a surge campaign going on right now, literally just launched today, where they're boosting all of our posts just by saying, hey, you're going to be able to get this product first on TikTok. I mean, it's ironic, but at the bigger you get, the more opportunities you have with TikTok.
Thank you. And Jordan, I want to conclude now, but just one piece of advice. What's your concluding thought? Someone says they want to start on TikTok Shop tomorrow. What's the number one most important piece of advice you would give them?
Is to have somebody dedicated to building. You have to build a community of the creators, right? It's not like a one and done sort of thing. You need to have and invest in somebody running that community. Maybe it's you, right? Maybe you're going to think like, okay, this is actually that high of priority that you're going to, but somebody needs to be there. And just remember that this is like the cutting edge of what people think about your brand and how they're trying to sell it, right? So listen to them and use that incredible feedback loop, and spend time, like go do one-on-ones with your high GMV creators. That will like be the best time that you can spend as a founder and CEO, is understanding what they think about your product. And then just one other thing here, Rafi, is get those creators then to like almost like an MLM, like a multi-level marketing, where you're getting them to then train the people underneath them, and you're giving them some sort of like cut, or you're giving them something. We do that constantly. We call them brand pods, where we're like constantly creating more and more people who are training more and more people. That is the way that you get incredible virality for your brand, and you just get the best kind of content.
That's amazing. There has been so much great stuff and value on this webinar. I think I'm tempted to listen to the whole thing again myself. I've learned loads. I should have mentioned at the beginning, anyone who signs up to Finaloop and is going on TikTok Shop, if you're 7-figure or 8-figure brand, you can get a free consultation with Jordan's team. They'll look at your TikTok Shop strategy. But definitely,
and it's actually like a huge amount of work. I just want to let everyone know, like, I hate even calling it that. It's like our team actually goes in and looks at like all your competitors, whether you're actually viable or not on TikTok Shop. And then how much you actually have to invest into it to like be successful. So it's like, it's a lot that our team actually does. We legitimately normally charge $2,000 for it. I have to tell my team, if anyone, for when you guys reach out, that we're going to give this for free, but like, it's like actually a huge amount of work. So I wish we could AI-itize it, but we can't. So,
and in case it wasn't obvious by now, these guys are the best in the business. Someone actually on LinkedIn just before was looking for a TikTok Shop agency, sent them straight to you guys. Thank you everyone for joining. I appreciate it. We've gone a bit over time, but thank you for sticking around. If you want further information on either Finaloop or Jordan West, he's very easy to find online. He's got loads of videos, and you can feel free to get in touch with us if you need more information about the integration or looking for a demo, or to speak to one of our representatives. Russell, Jordan, thank you so much for joining us, and have a good day, everyone.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys.
Rayla, thank you as well to you.
No problem. Bye.
Bye, everyone.